Welcome to IQD Dinar News, your go-to source for the latest updates on currency exchange rates, revaluation news, and insights into the Iraqi dinar. Stay informed and ahead of the curve with our timely analysis and breaking developments. The Iraqi government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, has announced that a national census will take place for the first time in 27 years. Scheduled for November 20th to 21st, this census has raised significant speculation about its broader implications, particularly in the context of Iraq's economic situation, the distribution of oil wealth, and, more specifically, the potential introduction of a new exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar. The importance of a census after 27 years. A census is a comprehensive data-gathering process that allows a government to assess its population size, distribution, demographic characteristics, and social and economic conditions. For Iraq, conducting a national census after nearly 3 decades is a major step, particularly because the country has faced significant challenges over the years, including conflict, political instability, and economic difficulties. Censuses are crucial tools for effective governance because they provide accurate information that can help guide decision-making in areas such as resource allocation, infrastructure development, and public services. In Iraq's case, this census is likely being conducted to update demographic data that has been outdated for decades. This includes data on the number of citizens, their locations, and their needs, which are essential for the proper distribution of wealth, including oil revenues. The timing of this census is noteworthy. After years of turmoil and with a relatively stable government in place, there is a growing sense that Iraq is trying to rebuild its institutions and improve its governance. The decision to carry out a census could be seen as part of a broader effort to modernize the country and address long-standing economic and social issues. The link between the census and the HCL, hydrocarbon law. The reference to the HCL, hydrocarbon law, in the statement is significant. The HCL is a piece of legislation that governs the distribution of Iraq's oil wealth, which is the primary source of revenue for the country. Under the law, a certain percentage of oil revenues is supposed to be shared with the population, with the goal of ensuring that all Iraqis benefit from the country's natural resources. However, the implementation of the HCL has been a source of contention and has faced numerous delays. Disputes between the central government in Baghdad and the Kurdistan Regional Government, KRG, over oil revenues, as well as political instability, have prevented the full implementation of the law. As a result, many Iraqis feel that they have not received their fair share of the country's wealth. Sudani's decision to conduct a national census could be seen as a step towards addressing these issues. By collecting accurate demographic data, the government would be in a better position to implement the HCL fairly and equitably. The census would help determine the number of citizens eligible to receive a share of the oil revenues, ensuring that the distribution is based on current data rather than outdated estimates. The possibility of a new exchange rate. One of the most intriguing aspects of the statement is the suggestion that the census could be linked to a potential change in Iraq's exchange rate. The Iraqi dinar, IQD, has long been a subject of speculation among investors, particularly those who believe that the currency will undergo a significant revaluation. The exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar has been relatively stable in recent years, but it remains low compared to its value prior to the Gulf War in the 1990s. Many believe that Iraq's economic recovery, coupled with its vast oil wealth, could lead to a revaluation of the dinar, which would increase its value against other currencies. This belief is often fueled by discussions of economic reforms, government actions, and events like the upcoming census. The statement suggests that the census could be a precursor to such a revaluation. The logic is that by conducting a census, the government would have the necessary data to distribute oil revenues more fairly and effectively, which in turn could be linked to broader economic reforms, including a new exchange rate. The idea is that a more accurate picture of the population would allow the government to make informed decisions about how to manage the country's wealth and currency. One might wonder why the census is being conducted now, after so many years of delay. The statement implies that the timing is not coincidental. The government may feel that the country is finally in a position to undertake such an important task, given the relative stability that has been achieved in recent years. Additionally, the reference to a new exchange rate suggests that there could be economic reasons behind the decision. A census could provide the government with the data it needs to implement economic reforms, including changes to the currency. If the dinar were to be revalued, the government would need to know how many citizens would be affected and how to distribute any benefits that come from the revaluation, such as increased purchasing power or higher salaries. It's also possible that the government sees the census as a way to demonstrate to the international community that it is serious about reforming its economy. A successful census could signal that Iraq is ready to take the next steps in its economic development, including potential changes to its currency and the implementation of long-awaited reforms like the HCL. Role of Soudani in economic reforms. Prime Minister Soudani has been a key figure in Iraq's efforts to stabilize its economy and implement reforms. Since taking office, he has focused on improving governance, tackling corruption, and addressing the country's economic challenges. His decision to conduct a census could be seen as part of his broader agenda to modernize Iraq's institutions and create a more equitable distribution of wealth. Soudani has also been vocal about the need for economic reforms, including changes to the country's exchange rate. He has emphasized the importance of creating a stable and prosperous economy that benefits all Iraqis, not just a select few. By linking the census to the implementation of the HCL, Soudani may be trying to show that he is serious about addressing the economic grievances of the Iraqi people. The potential impact of a new exchange rate. If a new exchange rate were to be introduced, it could have significant implications for Iraq's economy and its citizens. A revaluation of the dinar could increase the purchasing power of Iraqi citizens, making it easier for them to afford goods and services. It could also attract foreign investment, as a stronger currency would signal that Iraq's economy is on the path to recovery. However, a revaluation could also have challenges. The government would need to carefully manage the transition to a new exchange rate to avoid inflation or other economic disruptions. It would also need to ensure that the benefits of the revaluation are distributed fairly, which is where the census comes into play. By having accurate data on the population, the government would be better equipped to manage the impact of a revaluation and ensure that all citizens benefit. Additionally, a revaluation could impact Iraq's international trade. A stronger dinar would make imports cheaper, but it could also make Iraqi exports more expensive for foreign buyers. The government would need to balance these factors to ensure that a new exchange rate does not negatively affect the country's trade relationships. In conclusion, the upcoming census in Iraq, scheduled for November 20th to 21st, is a significant event that could have far-reaching implications for the country's economy and its citizens. By collecting accurate demographic data for the first time in 27 years, the government will be in a better position to implement the HCL and distribute oil revenues more fairly. Moreover, the timing of the census, coupled with speculation about a new exchange rate, suggests that the government may be preparing for broader economic reforms. Prime Minister Soudani's decision to order the census reflects his commitment to modernizing Iraq's institutions and addressing long-standing economic challenges. If a new exchange rate is indeed on the horizon, the census could play a crucial role in ensuring